welcome back. Tammie Schrader here, and I'm really excited for podcast number 3 because we are going to talk about board games. And before we do that, I have some exciting news I want to share. I am now working under a new logo, and it's called Level Up Education Consulting. And I just want you to know that the things that we are doing are next level, which I love. And by the way, if you didn't notice, Level Up is a gaming term, right? And I didn't even choose the name of the company. So I just want you to know we're doing some work around consulting with mastery-based learning, social emotional learning, games in education, AI in education, all kinds of stuff. So I just wanted to do a shout out because I'm so excited for the next journey and it's going to be so fun. So I want to talk about board games. And I'm just going to tell you, board games are not the same board games we grew up with. Remember the sorry and the aggravation or whatever, right? That's not the way board games work anymore. And so I brought a few in I want to feature simply because I want to show you what board games can really do. And I want to go back to my why, right? Because why I care about games in education and board games in education, video games in education, play in education is because it promotes really amazing things in kids. It promotes collaboration. It promotes creativity, problem solving, right? And even if I were playing a game where you and I are like in opposition, say chess, right? We are still collaborating around this thing where we're trying to, take each other's pieces and whatever. And by the way, I have to tell you, personal story. I know you're excited. I was asked, I did a keynote last week in Idaho, and I was asked, what is your favorite board game? And I have to tell you, it stumped me because no one's ever asked me that. And I said, well, first of all, let me tell you something. My least favorite board game, I know that, and it is a Monopoly. Sorry, Parker Brothers, but but I'm going to tell you why. When I'm in high school, I'm a teenager many, many years ago, and I have an older brother. Can I say his name? I think I can. So my brother Terry, he's lovely and amazing and brilliant, smart. But I'll tell you, we were all playing Monopoly as a family, and guess who's winning? The man owns every piece on the table, right? He owns Boardwalk and Park Place. It was terrible. But because we're the younger siblings, right, we couldn't get out of playing. That Monopoly game went on for 3 freaking days. And I wanted to quit every minute, but you couldn't because the big brother was being the big brother. Anyway, so I have not played Monopoly since. 3 days of my life, I'm never getting back. But I will tell you, I think my favorite game, honestly, is chess. I love to play chess. I love chess. I love the thought process. And really what I love about chess is the history of chess. So I'm reading a book about the history of chess. Don't even. But the thing about chess is chess has been found in every civilization across the globe that we've ever located, right? Ancient civilizations, they all had a form of chess. And for me, that becomes an equity issue, right? And a diversity issue, because it seems to me that we've been playing games for as long as we've been around, humans, right? And I think that's fabulous. And the other thing that I found really fascinating is chess, actually, the queen used to be the least powerful player on the board until, historically speaking, all the queens of England started coming into power and started exerting their power. And all of a sudden, the queen became the most powerful piece on the board. And I find it interesting that our games and gameplay follows history, right? It follows history and it incorporates whatever's going on. So, but I have like a bunch of games here and I'm so excited to share them with you. And I just want to give you some example and some ideas about what board games can do for kids, right? So the first one I'm going to show you is called Anger Management, right? And this game was built for 4 to 12-year-olds. And inside it there's cards and there's interactive things. And this game is really about how to help kids deal with things that are emotional to them, things that are right. If you really, things that are frustrating, maybe even happiness and joy, what do you do with that? So this game is built for kids to help them deal with all the emotions that they go through. It's fabulous. Okay, I was told to put these on the ground. Sorry to be gone. This is another one that I find interesting. And these games are just fabulous. This one's called Holding On, The Troubled Life of Billy Kerr. This game, it's amazing. These are not your regular board games that we played when we were kids, right? This game is about a 60-year-old that has a heart attack. and he's going to die. And here's the thing. The whole game, you're playing with your colleague, trying to keep this person alive, trying to keep Billy Kerr alive, right? And you don't know everything about him, but you know some things about him, right? So the whole game you're investigating, as doctors do. If you've ever been to a doctor, I always say they're practicing medicine because they're practicing, right? Because they don't always have the answer. So it's about all these, you're playing the nurse and the doctors, and you're trying to keep Billy alive, right? Fabulous game. It's a fabulous role play, collaborative, like, oh my gosh, we all have the same goal. Okay, another one that I really, really like, because I play this electronically with my husband every day. This one is called Robot or Not. How many of you have ever been on the computer and they have a CAPTCHA and you've got to say, okay, which one have motorcycles in here, right? And that is what our society has come down to when it comes to they're trying to tell if you're a robot or not, right? But this is a game where they show you pictures, and you have to and you have to pick the word that they're all depicting. And what's really fabulous about this game is it's extremely creative, because I might look at 4 pictures and say, oh, they have in common they have green grass, and you might look at 4 pictures and go, no, Tammie, they all have some kind of person in them, and somebody else might say, you know what? No, I think, right, it's extremely wonderful. It's called Robot or Not. And speaking of Robot or Not, it's another one of my favorite games. If you've never heard of a man named Alan Turing, right, he built a game, or he built a machine called the Enigma, right? And they've got a movie out about him, and if you haven't seen it, it's fabulous. But it's called the Turing machine, and this is wonderful. You go in and you actually code a computer with cards. Remember how they used to do that? Well, I don't know if you know that, but when they would program computers, it was actually cards with cutouts. This is all about, you can't see, but I'm putting my fingers in here. And it's all about using cards, right, to program a computer, right? The Turing machine. It's amazing. And I know you know I'm a science math person, but look at this. I'm trekking through history. This, and by the way, if you can't see this, the graphics on these are incredible. They're absolutely incredible. So this one is, you've got to pinpoint when things happened in history and where they happened. And it's really fabulous because, you know, instead of memorizing, and I'm not being negative about social studies, I'm just saying memorizing dates, not really a fun thing. I mean, maybe you guys were good at it. I sucked. But this is really fun because you're trekking through history, right? And you get to figure out what things happen in what order. And anyway, lovely game, great graphics, fabulous. Now, for those of you D&D players, and there are a lot of you out there, I played D&D for the first time during COVID. I have a niece, and I said, I've never played D&D, and can we do it across the mile? She lives in South Carolina. It was fabulous. So best time ever. But this is a D&D game called Bedlam in Neverwinter, Bedlam in Neverwinter. And this is, you can imagine the whole dragon theme. For those of you that love fantasy themes, and by the way, if you love fantasy themes, they have got so many games out that you will love. And again, the graphics and the beautiful storylines are amazing. This is a great D&D game, right? It's an epic tale told. Oh, by the way, it's told on a board game, but you have to escape. It's kind of like an escape room. And if you guys have never done an escape room, let me tell you, they're bloody fun. And you know how you go into a game, you get locked in. I once had a teacher from the UK, and he said to me, hey, do you guys do escape rooms in the United States? And I said, nah, we frown on locking kids in a room. Sorry. So there are board games that help you learn that you have how to escape. It's so fun. And they're all collaborative. Okay, here's another one of my favorites. And I know that, again, I'm a math science person, but I'm going to tell you, this is the Shakespeare game. Okay. And you have to, and again, the board's beautiful, but you're racing around London to put on as many plays as you can while backstabbing the other playwrights so they don't steal your ideas for plays, right? And it's beautiful. It's set in it's set in the UK, it's set in London, and you are a playwright like Shakespeare, and you're living in this cutthroat world of how many plays can you put on, and can you do it through the theaters of London? It's lovely. It's lovely. And by the way, when I played this, I had already been to the UK, and what was really funny is, I mean, it tells me exactly where everything is, and it was lovely. I mean, it's just lovely. If you ever want to travel and you want like a travel guide, okay? Okay, I have two more. This one is called Winter Tales. And again, the reason I selected these to highlight is because they were so very different from each other. Winter Tales is a game about tales, making up stories, and which story is best and which one is more believable. So, you know, it's this. I love this now. You ready? Here's the kind of things we're talking about. By the way, it's based on Alice in Wonderland, kind of slightly. The character's name is Alice. Alice is on her way to Dorothy's mansion, and she hoped a place of safety could be established there. She darted through the streets of the town, but a massive figure leaped out from above. It was a wolf. Luckily, Alice grabbed a discarded frying pan, which she swung against the wolf's snout. Right? Could the rebels really create a safe haven in Wintertown? So it is all, and by the way, games have changed so much, you guys. A lot of the pieces, everything like are 3D, and you've got castles and like the whole thing. And again, beautifully, beautifully written and beautifully, beautifully done. Amazing. And this one is about writing stories and making up stories as you go. Fabulous game. Okay, my last but very much not least is one of my favorites, and you'll know why as soon as you see the name. Because I have a biology degree. I'm a biologist by trade before I became a teacher. And this one is called Darwin's Journey. And if you're a biologist, you know who Charles Darwin is. Most people have heard of Charles Darwin, right? And he went off on the USS Beagle, and he went to the Galapagos Islands, and he discovered this huge, every island had very specific tortoises and very specific finches and very specific organisms. And what I love about this is if you want to recreate that experience for yourself, you can do it on a board game. You can play this game and actually go through and discover the things that Darwin discovered. And you can be a different character, but here is his journey. And it's a beautifully built game. And you know what I really love about board games and some of these games that are, right, is that the people who develop them, they actually study, right? They actually study Charles Darwin, and they study his journey, and they study what he's been going through, right? And it's terribly, terribly powerful, right? Okay, so those are the 10 games that I picked. And the reason I picked those 10 games was because every single one of them has an educational purpose. But I will tell you, when these board games were designed, they probably were not designed for education. They're designed for people who love the topic and want to learn about it, and they're designed for what we call gameplay. But what's really, really super powerful is that these games can all be sitting in classrooms, and of course, if you want to group kids by 4, you're going to need several copies. But what I'm saying is, if you want to use games in classrooms, and let's say you don't have internet access, or you know what, you don't want to play internet games. These games are extremely powerful and can teach kids. They teach kids to collaborate. Even if I'm playing chess with my husband and he and I are not on the same team, we still collaborate around a common goal, which is we're trying to read each other and what we're doing, right? Okay, and my time is almost up. So 3 things I need to say to you. The first one is the session 4 will be around esports. And I'm really excited about that topic. The second thing that I want to say is in August 12th through the 14th, there is a conference up in Toronto, Canada. It is called Serious Play. And it's where people get together to play games, board games or video, and we don't play, we give presentations. The whole conference is about using games seriously in education. And the very last thing I want to say is I want to do a shout out to my producer, Yanni Bears, who is amazing, incredible, and wonderful, and makes me look smarter than I am, to be honest. Thanks for coming. I'll see you next time.